After 9/11 and the birth of Homeland Security, fusion centers were set up to monitor U.S. citizens, and the U.S. Department of Justice legalized non-consensual experiments on the public. These fusion centers employ civilians to target individuals and harass them, intimidate them, vandalize their property, and interfere with their day-to-day life. This is known as gang stalking. Former high-ranking FBI agent Ted Gunderson reported in 2011 that himself and thousands of others were being targeted. FBI agent Mike German confirmed this as well. Several federal agents have reported that they were targeting individual Americans, including people who were simply pro-life, and that they were pressured to put more people on their targeting lists to legitimize more federal funding. These Homeland Security fusion centers are able to put any American citizen on the terrorist watch list without any reason or due process. In 2012, NSA whistleblower William Binney reported that the feds are conducting comprehensive surveillance on nearly every U.S. citizen and targeting whomever they please. In 2014, Glenn Greenwald exposed the methods used to target individuals, such as hacking into people's social media accounts, posing as that person, and contacting their friends and coworkers.
Greetings, fellow targeted individuals. Gang stalking is an attack on a person's life based on promoting neutralization through demoralization warfare. Gang stalking cannot exist and cannot occur within the United States unless we have a security apparatus which allows this to occur on a nationwide scale. The term gang stalking didn't exist until around the creation of Department of Homeland Security. And then afterwards, under the guises of national security, we have seen an emergence of CIA agents operating in FBI facilities, fusion centers, billions being pumped into the national security apparatus, which has helped to fund diversity and inclusion contractors. It's helped to keep the bellies of many veterans full, and it has sustained many contractors. This activity is based on the utilization of psychological warfare. I discovered it after dealing with a group called the Freemasons and the CIA, which utilizes interagency partners to gang stalk people. Partners which have traditionally have done this with them have been your Secret Service, FBI, and other DoD partners and contractors. The people that typically will go along with this are sheriff's associations. Sheriff associations are contractors. The majority of sheriffs that I've met don't agree with this activity, but they know that it does exist and does occur in some communities when somebody is being flagged. They will typically reach out to local civic groups, veteran groups, and guess who is the strongest partner to the CIA as far as from what I've seen? It's the Army. And if you live nearby an Army base, I would encourage you to relocate. Watch how much your targeting will reduce. So when you are experiencing this, you may be harassed at gas stations, stores, schools, nursing homes, you're visiting relatives, you're being harassed in schools. Well, this is what I found out. They actually enroll into schools. There are cases, and I have proof, where they rent homes. Remember that case involving a couple targeted by eBay executives? Well, they will outsource, and they will use assets, and they will even move into communities and follow you around 24/7. When you talk about this to a counselor, you're always going to be written off as being delusional. Unless you share the proof. Then they're like, oh my God, this is real. There are many people which are recruited into this that are teachers at times, tied to Kwanzas. They may go to your small business center in your area, Chamber of Commerce. They may go to groups which have historically have a good rap with people, like your Red Cross or some group that's filled with many good men and women. and they may condition these people to believe that you're a threat and that they need to go along with this activity. They may use Citizens Corps partners. They may use even religious groups, and these religious groups will go behind your back and say, hey, we work with this agency. There's a person of concern here. When you see him, whistle one time, because we want him to be aware that he's being watched. So yesterday I'm eating with my family, and a guy walks up to the table and goes, "Tss." So the people there, the staff, one of them walked to my table. They were pointing at my table, and they were like, look, do you know this guy? That guy immediately left. He walked in, walked up to my table, whistled, and then left. Not a crime. So when I go to my car with my family an hour later, I noticed there's like 100 cars in the parking lot. Nobody's in their car. Everyone's having a good time. There's music, there's food. So when I get back to my car, I notice a car had reversed in, and I walk to my car. I see their headlights are on. There's two people there wearing suits. And I see a guy get out of a car on the other side, and he walks up to the middle of the road, and he goes, "Tss." Well, my family didn't think nothing of it. So the guy walks back to his car and he leaves. So I've documented Freemasons doing this, active duty Army, ex-military, even a neighbor that's an 8A business vendor, which is a member of a diversity and inclusion group. You may notice a lot of these punks are ex-US Army. It's very disappointing because both of my grandfathers both took a bullet while serving in the Army. Most gang stalkers are all ex-military. See, the reason why most of them are ex-military, corporate partners, civic groups, is because these people want money, and a lot of them have worked with the government and will sign non-disclosure agreements. So that makes it where this activity is hidden. And there exist all across the United States contractors which do role-playing and surveillance work. Now, here in Florida, we have a stand your ground law, which states that if you're being stalked or harassed, boom, you can just shoot. I don't believe in doing that, fellow TIs. If I was to do that, we would need a graveyard for national security threats, because I research the law frequently. I used to work with the law firm, and I did all their paperwork. So I know about some aspects of the legal system. Now, a Form 95, also known as a Federal Tort Claims Act, is unlikely going to help you with this type of activity, along with a county attorney or state attorney, because when cops do you wrong and write false reports, guess who is going to represent them? The county attorney and state attorney. Inspector generals? If you were to write the CIA Inspector General, they're not going to write you back. They're a CIA asset. So you can't trust cops, you can't trust the government pretty much when you're targeted, because everything here is considered a matter of national security, even the truth. If you say the truth, they might say he's a national security threat. Now, some people may perceive me as being anti-government and anti-law enforcement. I'm actually not. I recite the Constitution every single day. Every day I pray. My Lord is Jesus. I pray, I worship my God. I don't commit any crimes. I don't break any laws. I have nothing to hide. I'm driving right now with my cell phone on high location. I'm not using VPNs. Why should I have to hide from perverts and people involved in diversity and inclusion, ex-Army? I'm not hiding from these types of people. I'm not the criminal. I'm not out here harassing their families when I could. I'm not harassing their general, which gave the okay for the CIA to use these people that come into communities. Now, 4 years ago, I dealt with a group of people, and they were active duty in the Army. They came to a town a small town on the outskirts of Florida, in a place called Lake Mineola. It's called the Tiki Bar. I don't go there no more. So they came with a guy that was spotted harassing me at gas stations. And he would walk in there and walk up to me and go, "Sss." I would get harassed at school by Sheriff Association members. Even when I visited West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Sarasota, these people wore suits and they're leasing vehicles from car distribution centers and people that lease out cars to government entities and contractors. So they do lease management. So these perpetrators may use ghost tags to get away with their crimes. You could be in a drive-through, and this doesn't happen to all TIs, but there have been many times where I have taken drives out of the state of Florida to visit a relative. And I could be in, what's this place called? Biloxi, Mississippi. I could be at a drive-thru, and they may say, hey, here's a free Coke. And I'm like, I don't drink Coke. Why don't you give it to the person behind me? And they're like, oh, no, it's just for you. And then I drive 50 miles home and just buy something to see what would happen. And they're like, hey, man, we got a free Coke for you. So one day I went into this place and I found out that I was being flagged to local cops. And that was their way of letting me know, like, hey, we're watching you. For what reason? I don't know. So gang stalking is based on intruding into people's lives so that way they can live your life versus you being able to live your own life. I've had experiences on my street where I've had a neighbor just exit their home and go, then walk right back in anytime I exited the house. Doesn't happen now, but it was happening for years here in Florida. So they'll harass you where you walk. If you have a relative in a retirement center, they'll wait outside. I have videos where you see a U.S. government tag. They'll just wait for you and leave when you leave. It's not about stopping crime or terrorism. It's all a scam. And Americans have been falling for it the whole entire time. Who would have thought in a million years that the only national security threats we really face are threats within the government which promote the terrorism, the war, and which try to agitate people while pretending to be the good guys? Say no to violence. Peace.